All right, so 4.3 is just one page, and I can't remember what they call it in the Hawks notes. I'm going to call it the library of functions. In 4.4, we're going to learn how to graph things other than lines. So 4.3, literally all it is here's your f of x, here's your y. So I'm looking at the Hawks right now. Let me actually pull that up for you guys. Here we go. There we go. All right, so here's your x, here's your y. Calculate the function at these points. Now, I do what we call transformations. That's 4.4. I do that in a specific way, and the phrase I'm going to use is anchor points. And anchor points are going to be the points that we move around in our transformations. All right? So in my notes, here's what I've written. And this is, of course, on Blackboard. Library of functions. The quadratic is x squared. It looks like a bowl. It has the following three anchor points that we're going to use: 0, 0, 1, 1, and negative 1, 1. And that's because, if you go here, when you've done this, x squared, when x is negative 1, well, negative 1 squared is 1. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. Okay, so these points are just me calculating the function at easy numbers. That's all that it is. The cubic function, so, do negative 1, 0, 1 again. Negative 1 cubed is negative 1, 0 cubed is 0, 1 cubed is 1. So they have you do a couple other points just to get the right shape. So here's the shape of our cubic. So our x cubed is like this kind of weird curve thing. 0, 0, negative 1, 1. Sorry, negative 1, negative 1, and 1, 1. Those are our three anchor points. All right, the last two are the square root and the absolute value. I just put them next to each other so I could fit all of this on one page. But at your square root, okay, at your square root, you have 0, 1, 4, 9, 16. So actually, let me talk about the absolute value first. So absolute value, you're still doing negative 2 to 2. On mine, I'm still going to use the same negative 1, 0, 1 as my anchor points. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Absolute value of 1 is 1. And you get a V shape, okay? Because, the points are always, it's linear on each side, right? So whatever x value you put in, you just get the y value, but positive out, okay? So same x's, 0, 1, negative 1, just calculate absolute value of those points. The square root is the one that's a little bit odd. So if you think about the square root, I can't take the square root of a negative and get a real number out, right? It has to be a square root of a positive or non-negative. So I can do 0. I can start at 0. I can do 1. That's easy because the square root of 1 is 1. And then instead of using 2 or something, I'm going to use 4, my x value of 4, only because it's the next perfect square. So of the integers, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Only 4 is actual perfect square. So I'm going to skip out to 4. That way, when I take the square root, I get an integer. Now, in the Hawks, they give you 0, 1, 4, 9, 16. I think it's unnecessary to worry about the 9 and 16. 3 points is sufficient, and then knowing the overall shape. So this feels like maybe a lot, but it's not actually that much. Because let me point out to you, the quadratic and the absolute value are the exact same anchor points. The only thing that's different is the absolute value is a V and the quadratic is a U, because 2 squared is 4 instead of just 2, which is what the absolute value gives you. The cubic, again, it's still -1 is still 0, 1, -1. It's just the y values are different because cube keeps negatives. And the square root is the guy that's weird. Now, technically, you can pick any points you want to use as your anchor points. I'm just giving you the 3 easiest points to use, okay? So, probably for like an exam or something, I would just have this, since it's technically open book, right? I would just have this list so that you know your shape and your anchor points. I use anchor points in order to do my transformations. If you like Google online, or if you ask someone in another section, or if you do tutoring and you say anchor point, they might not know what you mean because that's a word that I made up. That's like trademark me. I'm the one that says anchor points. No one else says that. But it's just the points that we're going to start with, and then those are the things that we're going to move around with our transformations.